everybody, welcome to PetDesk September webinar, 4 branding mistakes costing you happiness, hires, and heaps of business. Today we have a very special guest speaker, Danielle Lambert, founder of Snout School. We're really excited to have all of you here, and we're excited to have Danielle with us today. So before we begin, I'm going to go through my monthly spiel with a lot of you who have been here on a repeat basis, but for some of you that are new, I like to go through a couple housekeeping items for the webinar. So if you're not familiar with PetDesk, first of all, we're a veterinary client engagement software solutions provider, and we empower almost 3,000 clinics across North America to help veterinary hospitals take better care of all of our pets. So this webinar is going to run about 45 minutes or so, and there will be time at the end for Q&A. So, if you have any questions, get those in. If you think of it, you can enter it into the chat function or the Q&A feature down at the bottom of your screen. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see that, open it up and enter in your question. And, if you have to drop off, totally okay. I know, and Danielle knows, and we all know that everybody's busy these days. And just because you registered for this webinar, you're going to be receiving a recording to watch on your own time and share with your peers anyways. So if you got to go, that's totally okay. So anyway, that is my script that I need to tell you all. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. Any technical difficulties, I'll be here during the duration of this webinar. And without further ado, I would love to welcome Danielle. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you so much, Judy, and thank you for PetDesk for putting this on. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys today about some branding mistakes that might be kind of doing a little bit more harm than good for you at your veterinary clinic. So if you are not familiar with me, the voice behind the screen, I told Judy I'm in hiding because we are in the process of moving. So here's me and all of my professional photography glory when I'm not in an office full of stuff that's getting moved. But yeah, my name is Danielle. I'm the founder of snoutschool.com, CEO of the Snout Group. I am over on Instagram at Danielle Snout. And I roll with the she, her, hers pronouns and also a Brussels Griffon. So that is my little best friend that's currently locked out. He's not allowed during official webinars because barking, but that's Archer. And if you are joining us live today, I always appreciate people that show up live. Like Judy said, totally fine if you end up having to go, but if you stick on with us live when we do Q&A at the end, we'll also be giving away a 20-minute brand strategy call with me. It's a $250 value to your clinic. Just a quick call to kind of run through like a couple key questions to get you some brand clarity and help you out and set you on the right direction with your brand. If you want to enter to win that, I just need you to follow me at Danielle Snout and PetDesk at PetDesk app over on Instagram and comment your favorite emoji on each of our most recent posts. My personal favorite is the little monkey because it looks like Archer when he's sitting. He looks a lot more like the monkey emoji than the dog emoji. I do not know what is going on there. You guys are the veterinarians, so I'll leave you to figure that out. But yeah, go ahead and follow me and PetDesk, leave that comment, and you will be entered to win, and we'll decide that winner at the end of today's webinar. Now, let's jump in without further ado with a poll. Okay, so Judy put together some awesome polls to kind of get a good idea of where you guys are with your branding journey. So how would you describe your practice's current brand? Is it what brand? Like, I don't know how I ended up here. I don't know anything about branding. Do we have a brand? Does it need some improvement? Is it great? And is it something maybe you've wanted and so you know what it is, but you just haven't had the chance to do it? Go ahead and vote and let us know where you're at in your branding journey. I'll give you a second there. And totally fine no matter where you're at, PS, because it definitely, journey is the key word when it comes to branding. So it's totally fine. Alrighty. And you know
I
what?
will,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll end the poll
perfect.
now. Hold on.
Perfect.
All right, and sharing the results.
Perfect. I haven't used the polling feature on Zoom somehow, no matter how much I use Zoom. So I was like, oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know, does it pop up? Like I use so many different softwares in my life and I use Zoom every single day, but I haven't used the poll. Okay, my first poll from you guys, this is the responses we get. Okay, 43% of you saying it definitely needs improvement. Okay, I feel that. And then the rest of you are kind of split amongst the other options pretty evenly. Like, I don't even know what's going on here. I feel great about it, or like, this is on my to-do list along with a billion other things. And I think we can we can all relate to that. So great, good to kind of get a feel for where you guys are at. Now, I will tell you my first experience with any sort of veterinary branding was this lovely piece of artwork that you see before you. You have to agree that it's lovely artwork because my dad drew it. So, my dad is a veterinarian in Northeastern Connecticut. I grew up working in his practice as a CSR and then eventually worked as a practice manager for him for 5 years. And when I took over as a manager, this was our logo, literally something my dad had drawn by hand. And I don't know how it got into this format, whatever, like 10 years prior. And I was like, okay, that's our brand. That's what we have. We slap it on everything. And because I was so passionate about marketing our clinic, I really wanted to put this logo on everything, but the file was kind of crappy. So I had this chance to revamp the logo, give it a little upgrade. And that was kind of my first foray into thinking about branding at all. Like, it was just out of need of like, hey, this logo just looks a little dated. It's a little bit wonky with the file, and I need to put it on some things, scrub embroidery, things like that. And when I had this chance, I was like, you know what? Maybe the color blue is a little bleh, and maybe we could put a little pop of color in there. Most of our clients, identify as female. I wanted to go with some very like traditionally like more fun, vibrant kind of looking colors. Lots of research behind that, but anyway, I'll spare you. But the overall end result was this. So that was like my first taste of anything when it comes to even thinking about a brand. I have since gone on to do a lot more thinking about branding. I work with personal brands, industry brands, and hospital brands throughout the veterinary industry to help them create visuals for their brands. So, meaning their logos, some of the ones you see here, but also like the story and the feeling and everything that goes behind that brand. So I have had the chance to work with these kinds of brands and figure out a lot along the way over the last, I would say, probably about like 7 years in my veterinary branding journey. And that's where a lot of the mistakes that we're going to talk about today comes from. So this isn't like theoretical random person telling you this. I've been working on this stuff like in the trenches for a few years now and have definitely learned a lot that I want to pass on to you. Before we do that, we're going to do another quick poll. I want to know, why do you want to build this brand? Why is this, you've decided to show up here today? So is it something where you are trying to improve pet parents' understanding of their pet's health? Are you trying to attract the best talent to come work for you? I know that that is a big one right now. Are you trying to share expertise, help other veterinary professionals improve their skills? Or is it all of the above? And if you have another reason, feel free to mention that in the chat. I would be curious to see if any interesting ones pop up. Judy, if you want to let me know, because I'm like in screen share mode.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Always the catch. But yeah, I'd love to know why you want to build a brand. Give me my chance to chug a little bit of water. forever drinking so much water when I present. If you've ever heard me present before, you've heard me say that. I say it every time because it terrifies me every time I'm like turned into a camel. Okay.
All right, Danielle, just so you know, people that mentioned other are just saying right now that, well, actually, just let me, I'm going to end the poll in like a
Okay,
second.
sure.
Let's do that. All right. And I'll close the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right. So
Okay.
there are your results. And for those that answered other, Hannah says she wants to appeal to clients and especially the millennial. Jeff says he wants name recognition in my community. Kirsten says be cohesive. Animal Care Clinic says I want people to recognize our logo and remember us when they need a vet. And then something different and appealing to clients. Ray says bring in more younger clients, huge apartments built near us, and there's a lot of young professionals there. Tanya's practice is getting a new building. And Brian says the Boston Boys and Gretel miss you. So
my fellow Brussels Griffon friends there over in Boston. So funny. Awesome. So those are some really good ones. And I think some of them actually kind of speak to, we're going to talk about the difference between, or we're going to define branding, because there is a difference between marketing and branding. Like when we talk about having somebody really remember you and some of that name recognition, a lot of that, yes, it starts with the brand, but then it requires you to push it out through marketing. So I think it will be interesting to kind of talk about that. And I'm also really excited about some of the situations you guys are in. Ray, with your new apartment buildings by you, that is like my dream situation for a clinic. I would absolutely love to work with a clinic that is kind of surrounded by a lot of young professionals like that. I think it's a fun opportunity. Tanya's got a new building. We got good stuff going on, guys. I love it. Okay, so let's kind of jump in and talk about the first mistake that I see people make when it comes to branding. And this is just straight up thinking you have a brand because you have a logo. Like I said, branding is like a big, weird definition. We're going to talk about that, but it's so much more than just the logo. And that's the big thing that I want you guys to take away from today's webinar. So when we are talking about branding, it's a lot of different things, okay? So it can kind of be that feeling that people get when they interact with you or your business, okay? So if you're kind of in the process of figuring all this stuff out, ask yourself, how do I want clients to feel when they walk through the door, okay? So it's so much more than just like, oh yeah, they like our logo, all right? I wanna think about like, how does this person feel? Little kind of example of this, think about, how do you feel when you walk into Target? I personally feel like I'm walking into the danger zone. I know I'm not going to get out of there without spending at least like $100, even though I went in there for one thing. Like, but I also like feel excited to walk in there. Like as far as errands go, I like going to Target. Okay. When I go there, I'm like, I know I'm going to peruse things that I don't really need. It's fun. The merchandising is like speaking to me when I'm walking in here. I feel really inspired because they have a lot of things that are just pretty. It's very aesthetically pleasing when I walk into Target, right? So I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are when you walk into Target. If anybody else feels like it's a danger zone. I mean that in the most positive way you can say it. But think about how you feel walking into Target versus when you walk into Walmart. When I walk into Walmart, I'm like, I'm just getting in, getting what I need and getting out. I'm probably looking for just like a good deal on something or like a big version of something. So I'm just going in here to like get what I need, get out. I don't feel this like magical feeling that I feel when I walk into Target. Okay. And that's me personally. This is the thing. Like, you can have different answers than me. And this kind of gets into some other things that we'll talk about on today's training, but it's fine if we have different answers. But I'd love for you to kind of think about how you feel when you interact with each of these brands, which at the core have some very similar things about them, but the branding is what makes you feel a little bit different about your experience with each of them. So this is something that I bring up because I think of when I helped my friend, Dr. Cody Creelman, launch his first vet clinic, FenVet. Okay. He came to me with this logo done already. So we did not do this logo for him, but he came to me with like a big vision. I joked that it was his manifesto. He had this big vision about creating a really positive culture where people would be really happy to work. He wanted to create a beautiful space that his community would enjoy spending time in. He wanted to really have something that just felt genuinely different and technology focused and experience driven. Okay. That's what brand is about versus just the logo. So even though he came to me with a logo, I was able to help him with his brand because he had such a succinct vision. Okay. So I want you guys to really realize that it's not just that logo. It also includes things like what people think of when they think of you or your business. So again, if you're kind of in these like early stages of like, oh crap, I guess I need a brand, or maybe you thought you had a brand because you had a logo, and now you're like having this come to Jesus of like, oh, I got to figure this out. Ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? Okay, is there a specific service or is there a specific vibe that you want people to think of when they think of you? Like, it can be very literal or it can be a little bit more woo woo soft skill kind of things. Okay. But think on that a little bit. When I think about this, I think about Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, such a New Englander at heart, so I have to use this like as my example. So Dunkin' Donuts in the '90s, when I was growing up, it was always really marketed with this guy that would just be making the donuts. He had these commercials. He'd wake up and say, "It's time to make the donuts," and it was all about donuts. Okay, so this guy was the face of their brand in the '90s because when they wanted you to think about Dunkin' Donuts, they wanted you to think about like, I'm going to go there and get a donut. Okay. Dunkin' Donuts started back in like the 1950s, just to kind of like, it was like a food truck initially to just serve blue collar workers, give them a quick, pick me up of a coffee and a donut. Okay. So up until about the 90s, like late 90s, we saw this kind of branding from them. But now, especially in the last couple of years, we've seen a big shift where now they want to be known for other types of food. For sure, I think maybe donuts aren't perceived as healthy and things like that, so people are a little bit more conscious of these things. So now they want you to think of like coming to them for all sorts of just snacks and drinks throughout the day, right? And so now they changed their name to just Dunkin' instead of Dunkin' Donuts. And now we see them marketing all these other kind of snacks. We don't see, OG version of like the donut guy making the donuts. Okay. So I want you to think of these kinds of things. Like, what do you want people to think of when they think of you as a practice or as an individual veterinarian, or if you have another role in the space, anybody in the space can have a brand. So support staff, managers, whoever. But what do you want people to think of when they are thinking of you is a key part of the branding exercise that I want you guys to kind of go through. The next little piece of branding, getting into why it's so much more than just this logo, right? It gets into the expectations people have of you or your business. This is a huge one. Okay. When I named this webinar and I put, that branding mistakes might be causing you happiness, this is what I am talking about. Okay. People have certain expectations of your business based on how you are branding yourselves. And this is where we get a lot of disconnect, a lot of unhappiness, whether it is by attracting the wrong clients or the wrong team members, etc. Okay. Ask yourself, what type of client do I want and how do I want to work with them? Okay. So what do I want to offer them? What do I want to do for them? You can ask yourself, if you're trying to hire, same question about the kind of person you're trying to hire. Okay. You can get really specific on this stuff. Okay. It really genuinely is going to lead to your happiness with this stuff. I want you to almost think of it like if you are dating and you like know what you're looking for in a partner and you're getting really specific, you're going to end up with better results than if you're just like, ah, yeah, I'll take whatever, right? So think about this. When I am thinking about expectations, think of like, I do a lot of traveling for work, or I did pre-COVID. I stayed at a lot of Hilton Garden Inns. Okay. When I go stay at the Hilton Garden Inn, it's fine. It's clean. I can expect that there'll be like continental breakfast for me to steal bacon from in the morning. Like, I don't expect a lot, right? I just expect that like I'll come in, at some weird time that I landed, somebody will be pretty nice to me, not exceptionally nice, but decently nice to me, and then give me a nice clean room. Everything will be fine, right? Like, it's fine. That's what I think of. It's solid. It's a safe choice. All right. Now, compare this to your expectations if you are staying somewhere like the Ritz-Carlton, okay, a luxury hotel. Literally, this picture, there are guys opening the door. I don't expect anybody to open the door for me when I get to the Hilton Garden, in somewhere in the middle of nowhere at like 3 in the morning. But if I show up at the Ritz-Carlton at 3 in the morning, I think somebody's going to open the door and greet me. Okay. And these are the important things to consider, because again, this is where, when we think of like, where do bad reviews come from? Like, if I went to the Hilton Garden Inn and said, oh my gosh, I got there at 3 a.m. and there was nobody to open the door for me, I would look like a crazy person, okay, writing that review. But if I went to the Ritz-Carlton and said, you know what, nobody greeted me, nobody opened the door, terrible experience upon my arrival, that would feel a lot more reasonable, because I'm paying a different price point. My expectations are different because of the brand that they put out into the world. Okay. So that's the kind of stuff I want you to kind of wrap your head around when you're thinking about, okay, who is my brand? This stuff is super important. And it's funny that Brian, my friend with the Brussels Griffon, is on this call, because he has a practice that's in a really nice area and serves hotels like this. So clients that are staying at a hotel like this, they're going to have different expectations of Brian's clinic than somebody who's staying at a Hilton Garden Inn, if that makes sense. So we got to think about this stuff so that everybody's expectations are met and we don't have any disruptions that are going to lead to negative experiences, bad reviews, just general unhappiness. All right. So now we've got some clarity that, branding is not just a logo. We have moved on. We know that it is this big conceptual idea that you're going to have to brainstorm a lot about. Now, the second mistake I see is people then trying to make their brand be for everybody. Okay. This is huge, specifically, I find, with the vet clinics I work with, because I think veterinarians want to just help everybody. And that's so commendable. And I appreciate it. I grew up with my dad trying to help everybody all the time, but I saw that burn him out. Okay. I want you to really think about, who do you want to serve and how do you want to help them? Okay. You do not need to be for everybody. I worked with a clinic once in Las Vegas and I asked them, like, who's your ideal client? And they literally told me that there was a trailer park across the street, and then that there was like some really high-end new housing, and they were trying to attract both clients. There is nothing wrong with either clientele and serving either one. The problem becomes when we're trying to serve both of them. Okay. It's just makes everybody unhappy when you're trying to serve too many kinds of people. So you want to get really specific. Who are you trying to serve, and who and how are you going to help them? What do you provide to them? What sorts of services? So I think that this is really, really important, because it's actually okay in branding to be divisive. Okay. I'm a Patriots fan, but I've lived around the country. I know other people hate the Patriots. Okay. Here's the thing. That's where this stuff really shines, is the more other people don't like it, the more it's divisive, the more psychologically, like, I cling on to being a Patriots fan. Okay. The more there's like that emotion of just like, I want to defend this. This is where I'm from. This is the team I like. The more I'm devoted to that team. Okay. Do you want clients that don't give a crap about you and you can be whatever vet and they can talk to you however they want and they can treat you however they want? Or do you want people that like feel so passionate about what you do because they're a great fit for you that they're going to be the first ones to defend you if somebody's rude to you online and stuff like that? Okay. We want to attract people to us that are just like all about us. Okay. So I think sports teams are a great place to look when we see how just like blindly devoted people can get to a brand. The more we have that, again, increased happiness, also huge, huge, huge for your business. Okay. If somebody is a super fan of your business, they are going to keep coming back. They're going to be more compliant. Their pets are going to be healthier and they're going to be spending more money with you. Okay. So win, win, win all around. So this is something that we bridged when I was working with Dr. Cody Creelman on FenVet, just saying like, okay, who is this for? And overall, FenVet, is for somebody who wants an experience when they're coming to the vet. They're not just going to the vet as, a random errand. They're going because they want an experience. This is important because when we're talking about marketing to millennials and Gen Z, they really value experience over pretty much everything at the end of the day. Okay. They want it to be something that is Instagrammable, that they can tell their friends about. Okay. So the person that's coming into FenVet, they care about that experience. There's somebody that wants community. They don't want to just like pop in and out of the vet. They want to maybe have more of a relationship there. And there's somebody that really appreciates the design and the elegance that goes into something that was planned out like this, that's a lot more architecturally unique. Things like that. Okay. So think about who your practice is for and don't be scared to get specific. Okay. It's going to scare the crap out of you because you're going to feel like you are going to like lose all of this business. But think about who those ideal people are, those ideal services are, everything like that. The more you're sticking to that, the more you're attracting what is going to make you and your team thrive, both financially and just, mentally, because you're going to be doing what you want for the people that you love working with. Okay. I guarantee when your clear branding attracts clients and team members you actually enjoy, you will feel a lot happier. Okay. So that is really what this is all about. Now, the third mistake that I see people make is assuming that your brand is just external, meaning it's just something that lives out in the world, that name recognition. Oh, people see the brand and they know what it is, versus it being something that's internal, meaning something that your team is actually involved in and aware of, or vice versa. Okay. So really thinking about, does the reality of our clinic, your culture and what you offer, everything about, what's happening inside your clinic, does it match what we put out with our marketing? Okay. So the brand, again, is like these things that are more hard to really describe, how people feel and who you work with and all of that. The marketing is how you communicate it. All right. So do those things match up? What you're saying out in the world, what you're saying to your team members or your clients, is everything the same, on both sides of the coin? That's super, super, super important. Now, with that, the reason I say it's so important is because if somebody, sees one version of your clinic online and then they come in and it's got like a super toxic culture, they're going to leave. Okay. So if you are having a lot of issues with like turnover and things like that, whatever you're communicating externally is not matching up what's happening internally. So I really want you to think on that and make sure that stuff is matching. Now, when I am talking about like communicating this consistently and putting it out there, huge, huge, huge opportunity. If you are searching for team members, they're on Instagram and you can search hashtags and find them. Okay. So if you are trying to communicate what your brand is about, what the culture is like at your hospital, what it's like to work with you, putting that stuff on Instagram Instagram and using hashtags that are going to be searched by those ideal team members that you're looking for is a huge, huge, huge opportunity. But again, we don't want Instagram versus reality on this, okay? We're not trying to catfish people. We want to make sure that people are getting what they actually signed up for, or you're just signing yourself up for a whole world of hurt. So we want all of that stuff to match up. So a clinic I think does a really good job of this is My Vet Animal Hospital. They do all sorts of like funny little reels. So this is like point of view of being a French bulldog. And I love it because like it just looks like it's fun to work there. Okay. So what I mean when I'm saying like we want to communicate what's actually happening in the practice, it's okay to like have some personality and show what it's like. Because like these people are goofballs. Like if you don't want to work with people that are goofballs, like you should not work here. Okay. And that's okay. So making sure that we're showing that reality, showing that stuff, I think that that is super, super important, as it is to just have a little personality, guys. It's totally okay. All right. Now, last but not least, before we're going to jump into some questions for you guys to kind of review and really make sure you're getting good on this stuff. This one kind of goes into the last one, but this is the marketing component. Okay. The last mistake is not communicating your brand effectively to clients. So you need to ask yourself, can somebody tell if we're for them by looking at our homepage or by coming into our lobby? Okay. Really being like honest with yourself and saying like, is this actually clear? Am I communicating what I want to communicate about our brand through our marketing? All right. I want to add into here, this also needs to be communicated to your team members. Okay. Like I said, it's not just internal or external. This is happening holistically. Do your team members know who your ideal client is? And do they feel confident in holding that boundary? Okay. If somebody isn't for you, are they okay with holding up that boundary? This is important stuff to have everybody on the same page. Okay. Everybody that works with you and everybody that comes to you as a client needs to know what you are about and what you are not about. And you need to be really strong in those decisions. So with FenVet, over on their website, we really wanted to make sure we communicated on their homepage that this was an experience, not an errand. Okay. As I mentioned before, we're looking for people that want to have, you know, a different sort of interaction with their vet. They don't want to just like go into a bland hospital and be a number and leave, right? Somebody that's looking for a more personalized experience. So when you go on their website, really clearly on the homepage, I see, okay, this is an experience, not an errand. I see, okay, this is going to be something different in this world they've created for me to enter. Oh my gosh, this is an experience. There are no waiting rooms. When I enter, I'm going to be immersed straight into the exam room spaces so that my pet can explore, relax, become part of their new home at FenVet. So right away, I'm getting a very different picture. Okay. I'm seeing, okay, simple surprises. Okay. Hey, they use technology. There's hidden design elements in the space. Oh, that's cool. I can kind of explore this space. That sounds really interesting. And there's reasons to kind of come back. It says like this ecosystem is always changing and there's more to, for me to uncover. Okay. That's very interesting. And then last but not least here, a team that's caring and cared for. Okay. So we are communicating something that is an important value to Fen about having a great team culture right on the homepage. Okay. It's not a secret. It's not something that we mention once when, you know, somebody is onboarding at, you know, at their first day of training or something like that. No, it's right there. So this is great to communicate both to clients, okay, in terms of expectations for them. Like, hey, if you're going to come here and be rude to this team, that we're not going to put up with it is what I'm seeing here. Like this team is cared for and this team is a priority. And that I think is very important for somebody to see. And again, if I am a potential employee checking out the website and I see that, that is like a good, that's a green light for me versus a red flag, right? That makes me feel like this is good. Now, I am going to feel a red flag if I get into the clinic and it's not actually like that. Okay. Remember, we want to make sure we're communicating what's actually realistic. But I know that Dr. Krillman has hired 4 veterinarians and a bunch of support staff since they opened back in April, which is no small task in today's market. So I think he is holding up his end of the bargain, but it's being clearly communicated here. And I wanted to show that to you guys as a really good example of something that's like, oh, this is different. Okay. It doesn't just say like, welcome to our clinic, your pet is family. Okay. Which I think like my dad's clinic website says that right now. I did not do that. We want to have something that feels a lot more personal. So let's bring this all together. Okay. I'm going to take a quick sip of water here. So as we kind of bring this all together here, there's a few things that I am going to want you to consider, and it's going to take a little bit of work. So I'm curious, what are you willing to put into your brand? Okay. What are you kind of willing to put into it to achieve the goals that you have? So go ahead and answer that poll.
And I do want to call out Hannah for saying, mentioning the team that's caring and cared for, that it's so important for clients to know that you have a genuinely healthy clinic culture. And I totally agree with that, especially nowadays.
Absolutely. It's really why having that as a core value was really, really important to Dr. Krillman. So I'm curious to see here, like, are you going to put time into this? You going to budget something toward having maybe somebody consult for you, having somebody, contribute content to your social media? Are you going to maybe look at that website and develop a little bit better? Or are you going to go all in, all of the above? Let's see what we got here.
All right. And sharing the results.
Ooh, good chunk of all the above. I love it. Awesome. So I love these responses because I just want you to realize this is something that is going to be a brand is like a living, breathing thing. It can change, like you saw how Dunkin' Donuts went to Dunkin'. Things can change over time, and that's okay. You can evolve, but it's something that you need to kind of be looking at all of the time, and you need to be kind of like feeding the monster, so to speak, by putting content out, by looking at it in a way that is a little bit more in depth, as much as you can. Awesome, guys. So I'm glad you're in. So let's do that right now, like a little quick mini version. If you were working with me, as a coach to coach you on your brand, we would work through things like this. So we're going to do like a little mini, like 10% version here. It's a lot of thinking when it comes to branding. It's a lot of brainstorming. So some questions for you to ask yourself. I popped some throughout the presentation, but we're going to kind of wrap up with a good, clear bit of them. First and foremost, with your ideal client, I think this is an important place to start. What are their demographics? But also, who are they, and what do they want from you? Okay. So getting really specific on that, not just saying like, oh, we're trying to attract millennials. Okay. Which millennials? Okay. Are they young professionals? Where do they live? What do they want from you in terms of services? Getting really specific is important. So starting there for sure, then jumping into a little bit more of a niche down. Okay. How are you going to serve that client? What do you want to be known for? And I think a really important one, what are your core values? Okay. That's something that, if you're big on clinic culture and your team culture, figuring out what your core values are, that's like the internal branding exercise that needs to happen. And the internal marketing is like indoctrinating the people that work with you into those values and making sure that they are a good fit, that everybody is on the same page, etc. Okay. So getting really clear on all of that stuff and communicating it with the team, super, super important so that they know who they're working for and what they're doing and that it's the right fit. And then they know how to communicate it to clients so that you're attracting clients that are the right fit. And this is where we get into the lovely reality check. Does the brand you're imagining with all of this and talking about hypothetically match what's actually happening in real life? Okay. Really, really, really being super, super honest about that is important, because if you're not honest about it, we're going to fall down a lot of bad rabbit holes. Okay. Next up, communication. Your marketing. Am I communicating my brand effectively on social media, on my website, and in real life? And is my team doing the same thing? Okay. Again, I think something I was super guilty of when I was a practice manager was like working on a lot of this kind of stuff, but not telling the team. So I think it's really important to incorporate the team. Now, when I'm working with clinics, the ones I see that are most successful are the ones that get everybody to drink the same Kool-Aid. Okay. So that everybody is on the same page. It makes for better experiences for the team and for the clients. Now, last but not least is the logo. Okay. It's important. Your visuals are important. And when I say logo, I should put here too, like just visuals in general, your branding visuals. So your logo, how your website looks, how your social media looks. Does it represent what you want to be known for and who you want to attract? Okay. If you're trying to attract a really high-end client, but your logo is looking like a little sad and wonky, the file's bad, like my dad's was originally, that's not communicating a like luxury feel. And same thing if like you're just using some random social media templates to post stuff like that, it's gonna not really be communicating what you want to communicate. So make sure that whatever you are trying to achieve is being communicated with the visuals so that you are attracting who you want to attract with that stuff. People respond to it a lot more than they would like to admit. Alrighty. So to kind of wrap up for you guys today before we jump into some questions and announce our winner. Again, remember, okay, that logo, it's not a brand. Okay. Your brand is so much more. I hope you learned that today and you're thinking on how you can build it out to be more. Being for everybody, huge mistake. We're not going to do it anymore. I'm telling you, if I like had one thing I could get everybody in VetMed to do, it's stop trying to please everybody. Okay. It comes down to great marketing and branding, but it's also going to be great for your mental health. Okay. Third, realize, brand is internal and external. Okay. We got to be on the same page. And then last but not least, of course, we need to market this. We need to communicate your brand effectively across platforms and in real life. All righty. So we're going to go ahead and pick that winner for today's giveaway. Judy, I might give you a second I know you were cooking on that. So when you've got that ready, just or let me look if you've got, I didn't know if you put it in the chat too.
Yeah, I put it in I sent you a chat. So
okay, hold on then. I know the answer to this question, guys.
I figured I'd like to do the honors.
Okay. Awesome. There we go. I get so scared when you're sharing your screen to click the chat. I like swear, even though I use this stuff every day, I sound like an elderly lady, but I get freaked out. I'm like, everything's going to shut down. But
I do the same thing and I do this every month.
Literally, we're all surviving and we have a winner. It's going to be Animal Hospital in Franklin, Tennessee is going to be that winner for that call with me. So congrats guys at Animal Arc. You can go ahead and oh, right, perfect. Oh, Ray was my one that I said was my dream client. I feel like I manifested that. Ray, I'm excited for this because I like that you are near some apartment buildings. That's exciting. So go ahead. My email is up here, Danielle at thesnoutgroup.com. Just shoot me an email within like the next week or so to claim that. Like, don't email me like 2 years down the line and be like, remember that one time? All right. right? So shoot me an email within like the next week, and we will get that set up. So super excited to talk to you. All of our contact info for everything right up here for the PetDesk crew. If you need help working one-on-one with your brand strategy, you can also just email me, Danielle at the Snout Group, or you can go to snoutschool.com/start and you can join the waitlist for our veterinary branding lab. That's our online program that will walk you through getting brand clarity and how to communicate your brand. And we are reopening that in October. So you can head to snoutschool.com/start to sign up there. But if you are looking for a little bit more one-on-one support, especially for a hospital, that's where we might need to kind of work directly together. So just shoot me an email. All right, awesome. I am gonna pull up and see if we've got any big questions.
Yeah, I actually, there's a couple of comments that I wanted to go through.
Oh, perfect.
There was a question earlier, but I just want to, I thought that this was a great comment from Erica. When you were talking about core values, she said that one of the core values for her clinic is care. Our integrity, empathy, loyalty, desire for clear communication, thoughtfulness, and respect for others will demonstrate that we truly care about those around us. And not only do they use this for the whole team, but they use it for clients and patients, which I just thought that that was a great core value to have.
No, that's awesome. That's like
Yeah.
the kind of stuff, like that stuff becomes like a North Star, right? Like that's why I love branding, because it gives you a lot of clarity on where you're going, who you are, what you're not doing. And it really keeps you like, it's a guiding light.
Yes. All right. And so I'll just get into one of the questions. Megan asked, how do you maintain that devotion emotion? We have been here for 41 years, but the competition is increasing and the climate is changing.
Okay. So if you've been there for 41 years, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that things have changed over that time. And it might be the time for you to get a little bit more specific on who you're serving. Anytime that there's a lot of competition, I really encourage the hospitals I work with to niche down, because now this is your opportunity to figure out specifically who you want to work with and how you want to work with them. And depending on the situation, sometimes that can mean increasing your price point, things like that. So in terms of that, it just might be time for a revamp and just getting a little bit more specific in terms of who you want to serve.
All right, great. Another comment was from Michael Shirley, and he said, wait, I got to go back here. He said that now is a great time to refine your brand, to get hyper selective on your ideal client, which I also thought was like a great insight.
I so agree. I love Michael Shirley because he's like the greatest like hype man of all time. So of course he's here. I feel like I can't do anything. Like Michael Shirley is like more supportive than like my parents. Like he's like always here. I'm like, hi Michael. So he's really right. A lot of what I was saying and a lot of why I am so passionate about branding and really trying to like get people to buy into it is because I see so much unhappiness in the space right now. I see people so stressed out. And it's like, it is now is the time, like I was just saying about that last clinic, get specific. Who do you serve? Only serve those people, stay in your lane, and you'll be a lot happier. So I totally agree with Michael on that.
Great. And actually, this is a question about the webinar as a whole. Amanda wants to know, I know in the PetDesk emails that went out, you know, we're going to be sending everybody a recording of this webinar, but Amanda wanted to know if the slideshow could be also sent as well.
If you really want it, shoot me an email. I always am like, I don't feel like I have a ton of info on my slides, but if you really want them, shoot me an email and I'm happy to send them.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Amanda says, yes, ma'am, thank you.
Some people like it. It's so funny. I always talk about this with other speakers. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you guys do with them? Show me, tell me. Everybody learns different, so I respect it.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. All right. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through some of the questions. Does anybody else have any other questions before we sign off? Oh, getting another new message here.
Yeah, we'll give everybody a second. That's fine with me.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Shirley said, great job. Thank you, Michael Shirley.
I'm telling you, everybody needs a Michael Shirley in their life.
I know, right? Just carry him around in your little pocket all day.
That's what you need. Yeah. I love it. Well,
Oh,
if anything pops up,
Michael,
you got one?
well, Michael Shirley is now requesting a joke.
I'm like, do you have a joke, Michael, or do I have to tell one? Because I feel like
Yeah, I feel, Michael, you're putting me on the spot. I want to know if you have one lined up,
I
Mike.
know. I know. If he has one, feel free to share. But otherwise, guys, if you have any other questions or anything, I'm pretty easy to track down. Instagram, I share a lot of stuff about branding on Instagram. So if this is your jam, follow my personal Instagram is where I share a lot of the branding stuff. So Danielle Snout, if you didn't already, that definitely will have more info. I want to know what Michael's joke is. I'm not feeling particularly funny, so I hope he had it ready to go because I do not have one.
He hasn't put.
We'll never know.
I bet you he's Googling one right now. Which, let's see. How about let's see. I have a joke. So this one is.
I'm ready.
A man goes to his veterinarian and complains, I think my goldfish is having seizures. He seems fine now, the doctor replies. Yeah, the man says, but just wait until I take him out of the bowl.
So bad.
It's a lame joke. Don't take your goldfish out of the bowl.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh wait, some Megan. I got a joke. Hold on. Megan's asking, what do your cell phone and your dog have in common? I don't know, Megan. What? Oh, both have caller ID. Oh, I love that.
Oh
one.
wow. Oh my God,
Okay.
you guys are giving me flashbacks to when I was marketing director for Dr. Eddie Rourke because it was like a lifetime of dad jokes. That's what I'm having.
Okay, everybody seemed to like that. Thank you, Megan, for saving my lame joke.
Megan, that was good. We appreciate that. I hope that appeased Michael.
Yeah, Michael says to follow him on TikTok at Family Pet Health for an upcoming dad joke contest with Adam Kreisman. So,
oh my God, yes, from DVM 360. I'm excited to see that.
I am very excited for this as well. All right. Well, I think that's a good note to end on.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for coming onto this webinar on our monthly webinar series. This was a great branding conversation. I hope everybody learned a little something new. I certainly did. And everyone, just a reminder, you're all receiving the recording of this webinar. And one more note, when you exit the webinar, there's going to be a little survey that pops up. It takes about a minute or two to fill out. Your answers help me, Judy Vay, your favorite webinar MC, make these webinars better every time and more relevant to you and your work situations. So, please fill it out. I would greatly appreciate it. And, thank you, everybody. And we will see you next month. We're going to be celebrating veterinary technicians. So keep your eyes peeled for the invite and for more information. So thank you, Danielle, and thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.